Hey everyone, this is Arsenal Fan Circle. It's season three. We have just deemed it to be season three now. Uh, the season's over. Last season was a long season, long, arduous season. I went through about four coaches, three or four coaches. But in the end, we came out of it with a trophy. And that's no bad thing, considering the season we had. Um, Stan, thanks for joining me today, Stan.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Grant, very good, thanks. And Tanner, the bearded gooner, thanks for joining, Tanner.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me, Ray. Appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, Tanner's actually driving right now, so it's best that he's camera free, camera shy, and we'll just do the audio with Tanner. And got the news, Mahir, thanks for joining me as well as always.
You're welcome.
All
Shout out
right,
to everybody.
what are we going to do for season three? We're going to do a few different things in season three. We're going to be inviting or endeavoring to invite other fan channels on to preview the games upcoming. So we're going to be talking to Wolves fans, Everton fans, maybe not everyone across the system, but that's what we're going to do for season three. We're going to do some pre-game podcasts. We're going to highlight what the lineups will be an hour before kickoff, and then obviously we're going to do the post game maybe a day later on the Sundays as usual. So we're going to go out every Sunday about this time. And what we want to do for season three, Matt, here is really to expand what we're doing here, get a community going. Been happy enough to go along with a couple hundred here and there, but we really want to expand the community, get people involved in the comments, and we want to highlight what's going on in the comments as well. So I've charged Mahir with the task of everyone really. Stan does a great job with it as well, and Tanner, looking through the comments and highlighting what needs to be talked about if I'm missing anything. Because the idea hopefully is to get the channel going a little bit bigger and better. And any constructive ideas you've got in the comments or Stan, Tanner, whoever comes on, hit me up with some ideas and we'll consider what we're going to do. We want to do some things that viewers obviously want, so hopefully we're doing a good job so far in our third season now. And we're going to open things up. So, Mahir, you got anything else to say about season three starting off here?
No, I mean, I just want to shout out to everybody, especially our panel that joins us, all our day one subscribers. They must just stick with us. We've got some bigger things coming up. We'd love to, as Ray said, grow the channel. And yeah, guys, just hit the subscribe button and join us here at the Arsenal Fan Circle. If you breathe oxygen, please go and hit that subscribe button. And go and subscribe to Stan as well, the bearded gooner.
Yeah, and a shout out to Stan and Tanner as well, and Rohan. They've done great things to profile what we're doing over here on this channel, and really, really appreciate Stan and Tanner as well. Rohan, Ryan, everyone who's really been on the channel. So, Stan, over to you. Anything else to add?
No, looking forward to season three, mate. Onwards and upwards, and hopefully to continue growing the Gooner family.
Yeah, and there's a lot of podcasts out there, and we are humbled that our viewers and our subscribers have chosen us to be part of their weekly thing. Anything, Tanner, for you from your side?
No, just echo what Mahir and Stan said. Looking forward to season three, and looking forward to changing things up a little bit, getting more folks involved, and like Stan said, grow the Gooner family, and just good footy talk, boys. Good footy talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just about all of us. There's four of us here collected today to talk about Arsenal. We're going to get into the elephant in the room, right, Stan? We're going to get into what's going on at Arsenal very soon. But wanted to give a shout out to people in the chats, DWTT, Stephen Denham, Gunnar Glenn, who's been a big one. All three of them being helpful, and Darren, Boy Gaming World, and Shahad as well. Thanks for joining us today. So really want to just expand the viewership. And one thing that all the viewers can do on the live or on playback smash that like button. We're looking to get about 20 like buttons. Now, I've never been one sort of asking for likes on the channel, but it really does help to grow the community. And if we can get to 20 likes here on this live stream, that would be really great. We can just grow things from there. Bring some new people to this channel because Tanner, Mahir, and Stan bring really, really good content. And I'm just a person here who just ties it all up in a nice bow, put the ribbon on top and the confetti. So really, really looking forward to this season 3. I think we're going to talk about Raul next, Dan. And, I'm taking, like I always do, this in an optimistic way that whatever Raul did, and we're going to get into the nitty gritty about all of that. We don't know 100% what's going on. As fans, we're just going to talk about it. But I do believe, Stan, in the long run, it probably will be the best thing for Arsenal.
Like you say, we know as much as what everybody else has seen, which has been very little. So all we're going to do here is really surmise and basically just pass it around and see what we think of it. But I mean, I've not seen anything like this happen at Arsenal since the dismissal of George Graham.
Yep, and Rune Hage, the agent involved in that one, right?
And I've got a feeling that what has happened behind the scenes is probably not far off from what was happening to George Graham.
Yeah.
So I mean, they told us on Friday that they were going to be launching an investigation, and I woke up on Saturday morning and Raul was already packed his desk up. They'd already put out the message from both sides. Sort of like the old best endeavours. We wish you the best for whatever you're going to be doing, and Raul was, I'm glad to be a part of it, but I think for me, this is definitely smells of the George Graham. And I'm just going to put it out there. If you ask me what do I think has happened behind the scenes, and this is only a guess, I don't know. I just got a feeling that the Cronkies aren't as stupid as we thought. This guy's, these are big business people, and they've probably come across rats in business before, and they probably know how to smell a rat pretty quickly. Yeah. And they sent their top man over, Tim Weston, was it, from Clifford and Chance, massive lawyer outfit.
Tim Lewis,
sorry. They sent him over from Clifford and Chance. Big outfit they are. And he's had his nose in the trough, for a week. So we don't know how long before we got the announcement about the internal investigation, how long it actually could have been going on. And it looks like Raul's jumped before he's been pushed. And I think that someone's had a word in his ear and said, look, it's probably best for all of us because we know what you've been up to. It's all here. And let's just sort of because if Arsenal come out and say, look, this is what's been going on, and they reveal everything. And, let's say they went down the road of a criminal prosecution or anything like that. It's not going to look good on Arsenal because, at the end of the day, the question would be, well, you guys recruited this guy. So to get him out of the door quietly at this time is probably what they want to do. So what do I think has actually happened? Basically, I just think that they've looked at all the transfer dealings. And I have to say as well, a lot of the research, I'm glad that this has come up because you can check back on some of these podcasts. A lot of the recent transfers that have happened, I've questioned them.
Yeah.
Cedric Suarez came in from Southampton. And I said at the time, I don't know much about this player, but he's coming from a team that's fighting relegation. When you throw the kitchen sink at everything, the Southampton manager was totally not picking Cedric. I don't know the reasons why. We got the guy on a free transfer, but we paid out around about 5 million, and he was injured when he came into the club. When we knew that if we'd gone in for him now, it would be totally free. So I questioned that deal. Pablo Mari as well. I don't know much about Pablo Mari, but I was surprised that on the back of 1.5 games and a couple of minutes here and there that he was offered a 4-year contract. And a lot of other people didn't really sort of question it. And I'm glad that it's come up because I did think that these transfers did seem a bit shady to me. I couldn't understand them. And obviously somebody at Cronky Towers couldn't understand them either. And what I think's actually happened is that they've looked at it and they're like, hold on a minute. He's putting all of the business in this one person's lap. It's all going back to the same one or two people, and you probably where they're getting their agent money, they're probably giving them a kickback for it. Thank you for giving me the business. Here's your cut. That's what I think has happened.
Yeah. Just some background here, and you mentioned Tim Lewis, Stan. He's been working for KSE ever since 2011, and he's a lawyer who specializes in reorganization. So he was perfect for the acquisition under the Kroenke. So, and here's what needs to be noted as well. He is a lifelong Arsenal fan. So he does, beyond his professional capacity, he does have the best interests of the club and Arsenal as a whole going forward. So, and this all went back to Ivan Gazidis. So we're still having some echoes of Ivan Gazidis here. I'll go to Tanner next to get his take on it.
Add one final thing.
Yep.
The thing that smells the most about it for me is that when I look back at the George Graham situation, it turned out he took about around £450,000, I think was the figure, for bringing in players like Paul Larderson and John Jensen. They're the two that I remember. And if you look at both of those players when they wore an Arsenal shirt, they weren't that good at all. So what stinks about it to me is that if a manager or somebody behind the scenes is accepting money for bringing players in, it's different if you're getting a backhander and you're bringing in someone like Ronaldinho. Do you know what I mean? It turns out that the guy that's like doing all the Cruyff turns, banging them in from 25 yards, heading them in from set pieces. It turns out that there was a shady deal. You kind of like, oh, right. But when it turns out that they're players and you've been watching them and you're thinking, you know what, they are shit, aren't they? Those players are actually shit. And that's what's happening. I'm worried that the same thing has happened again.
Yeah.
I'm worried that a couple of the players that have come in, the reason that they've came in and maybe Raul pushed for them was to get that backhander, not because they're any good or right for the job or what Arsenal needs. So that's what worries me the most, because the ones that George Graham brought in, they were a couple of stinkers, mate.
Yeah, a shout out to Harry Nicolodakis. Thanks for joining us, a new face around here. Hope you join up to the Arsenal fan circle family. Really appreciate it. We're pushing here in the third season to get a little bit bigger. Hopefully set ourselves the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the end of the season. I don't think that's unrealistic, hopefully. And everyone in the comments and watching on playback can help by sharing content around. Tell your friends about the channel. If you can recommend an episode you like, do that. DWTT, I think if KSE saw 100 million in purchases across their desks and their team bring in a lot of money, they probably wouldn't care as much. Yeah, possibly, right? So I'm going to go to Tanner next. Tim Lewis and Stan has been talking about Sir Chips Keswick. When he retired, Tim Lewis was brought in as a non-executive onto the boardroom, and Tanner, he has found something amiss, but maybe apparently the allegation could be.
Well, yeah, it's like you said, he specializes in reorganization, and I've been, and you can go back through different shows that I've been on, including yours, Ray, kind of questioning what it is that Raul was doing, not questioning the moves themselves, which I did that too, but just questioning what is his actual job. If Edu is technical director, and I understand that he sort of oversees the academy above Per Mertesacker, what is Raul's job per se? And because I think Raul and Edu's jobs really were a bit redundant. I don't think there was a need for both of them. So to look at it from a purely business standpoint, I think this is just streamlining the process as we've heard, over the past 24 hours with this. But I'm completely on board with Stan. from the standpoint that I think there was something shady going on behind the scenes. I think Tim Lewis found it, or at the very least smelled smoke, and more or less took the stand that, well, if there's smoke, there's fire, and we're going to put the fire out before this thing turns into a 13 alarm blaze.
Yeah, exactly. And whether it's coincidence that Raul has left concurrent to the investigation on the Pepe transfer, or if the Cronkies are just trying to streamline the whole process in lieu of 55 people also being drop their jobs. So Mahir, what's your take on the whole Raul thing?
I'm going to echo exactly what you guys were saying. Massive fraudulence. There's fraudulence of levels happening at the moment. When I woke up to see the news of Raul Sanllehi leaving, I first thought to myself, okay, what the hell is going on at our club? Because Sven Mislintat left. Coaching, a lot of these scouts being redundant. 55 staff leaving. Now Raul Sanllehi. It is because of massive levels of fraudulence that are happening. Like Stan said, I fully agree. There's been backhanded deals being done. A backhand cut of every single deal. Pablo Mari, I mean, Cedric Suarez from Southampton. All of the you can smell the fraudulence in the air.
What you can smell really is the club getting in bed with these agents, and we limited our scope stand down to Kia and a couple of other agents. So we really narrowed down the pool of players that we were going to be able to target.
Look,
I mean, sorry.
Sorry, Stan. Let me tell you guys, right? I'd rather this happen now, and we found out about this now, than like Tanner just said, the 14 alarm bells going off. That's why I agree with Stan. Rather now, all the fishy business rather get smelt out right now. All the fraudulence, like what's happening with all these deals, because we discussed this even before the pod started. We said we could have possibly spent 20 million more on Pepe than what was actually priced for Pepe. So
yeah, definitely the 72 million at the time I was definitely one of those that was gassed about it. We were finally competing against the likes of Liverpool. I think Napoli were in for him at that time as well, and we outsmarted the market, whether it would be paying above the odds or not. That's how we did it, and we have been uncomfortable with this whole agent-based approach right now. Recently,
I'm also worried that Edu is also. I understand why Edu. If you look at the position that he has, the kind of roles that he has in a football club, whether it's with us or someone like an international team at Brazil, why does he need to be represented by a super agent? I understand players because of technicality of contracts, but you would think that in a role behind the scenes, there's probably a very small pool. And when it comes to getting jobs, it's probably a case of, someone's been watching you. They like what you've been doing behind the scenes at another club. They're aware that your contract is probably going to be coming up for discussion. And then they'll probably step in, talk to you, tell you about their project. You've obviously got an idea of what you should be getting paid. Like everybody knows what field in their field, roughly what you should be getting paid. Why does they have to have a super agent in there, representing him for the job that he does? I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. I can get it with players because, contracts can be quite technical and there's lots of things to thrash out and you're talking to several clubs at the same time. But why do people behind the scenes have to have a super agent? So we still have a link to Kia through Edu, right? Even though Edu came in after the Nicola Pepe situation, he was around for David Luiz. He's been around for Suarez. He's been around for Pablo Mari. I think if you're going to clean house properly.
Exactly.
Yeah, a couple of comments here. Indian Gunner, we are already in the process and won a trophy this season, so we are rebuilding here. Barca have not none this season. Arteta guarantees all about winning. Why would Messi not feel confident about coming to Arsenal? I think we're just talking about, and Messi is in a situation at Barcelona. We'll get into that a little bit later. He's looking around and he doesn't see much in his dressing room, you know. Rowan says Clifford Chance was my dream firm in my pre-law school days. Maybe one day I get to advise our club, and that's the dream. We wouldn't have anyone better. Arsenal would not have anyone better than Rowan advising this club. The Assembled, thanks for joining us as well. I want to throw it out there as well. If anyone in the comments is willing to be a moderator for the channel as well, let me know, and we can definitely try and do that for you. If we're going to grow, we're probably going to need a moderator here and there as well. You know,
A bouncer.
a nice bouncer, right? So it's a nice responsibility for people in the comments, and we have people coming in all the time. So really would appreciate that. Great viewership here. We're up to 15 viewers right now, and we're trying to get to 20 likes on this video. So it's going to help us grow the community, and that's the only reason why we're doing this, to get more and more Gooners in here. Tanner, I'm going to go to you next. We're going to linger a little bit on Raul and how this may affect us moving forward. To me, it's going to streamline things a little bit.
Hope so.
Tanner, are you there? Am I here? To me, it's going to streamline things a little bit. Edu and Arteta, we've been saying on this podcast for many weeks now that we have been quite happy with what we're seeing on the field. You know, Mertesacker's doing a great job with the academy. Lundberg has gone back a little bit and worked with the team as well. And of course, Arteta is doing a great job. We can all see that on the field. He's improving some of our players to the point of where we've actually won a trophy, and there's quite a few teams who are mid-table right now who have not won a trophy this season. But we always worried about this, Mahir, what our boardroom was going to do and how that was going to perform moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, with this whole cleanup, hopefully it's a proper cleanup, you know, getting rid of all the rubbish rather sooner than later, and getting the house in order, you know, along the lines also included is probably Arteta being backed with the players that he wants to build up, and not just be like, oh yeah, just by the way, I know we like for example the Ainsley Maitland-Niles situation, right? Stan, you've said it. Arteta wants Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and it's pointless a coach wanting a player to stay, and then the rest of the guys are just like, oh yeah, just by the way, we're selling Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Oh yes, just by the way, we're selling this person and we're bringing in this person. Oh, just by the way, instead of actually asking what the coach, our managers' thoughts are on the players that we're bringing in and the players that we are selling, in order to properly rebuild this whole thing from the ground up.
That's a great point, Stan, that Mahir said. This thing all goes back to Gazidis. We're still sort of suffering the after effects of Gazidis, and it will take another year until probably Mesut Ozil moves on, because he's going to. This whole thing has clouded his recent interview as well. But this all goes back to Gazidis in 2018, and power struggles, the power vacuum from Arsene Wenger leaving. Arsene Wenger was doing everything at the club pretty much. So you bring in these individuals. Raul comes from Barcelona in 2018. Sven Mislintat's already there. There's a power struggle between the two of them, which Raul obviously won. Sven was given assurances that he would be have the certain title, right, director of football maybe, and that's what we all kind of laughed at Arsene Wenger when he scoffed about the director of football. myself included. But you know, Arsene Wenger could have been proved to be right here.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason he's called a technical director and not a director of football is because Arsene made that comment. You'll probably never see anyone will have that job title, but they'll carry out the same role. But my other concern with this is that, you know, Sven Mislintat has gone. He was going to find us the young diamonds in the rough. So we don't have anyone doing that.
Yep.
The scouts have now gone, right? The scouts that we had in situ in various countries with their eyes on the ground, they're not there. Now Raul's gone. He was the guy that was doing the contact-led part of it. So all of this has happened, and all of these people, they're probably their most important time of the year is right now. This is when you expect them to start to shine, when the transfer window opens. And all of those different instruments that we had at our disposal for bringing in players in the transfer window, we don't have it now. So it really is over now to, I think, Arteta to probably have to take the front, to be the figurehead, to be the face of it. You know, like in the old days where the manager would actually personally speak to players they were interested in and, you know, go around and have a cup of tea with the mum and dads and get them to sign the papers. He's going to have to put in a personal touch. And it's going to be difficult now because we've got such a short time. Players are coming back. He wants to train with some of these players, but he's probably going to have to take a lot of these meetings now to sound out players. And then I think it's over to Vinay that he actually does the actual contract part of it. I think that's Vinay's role. And I don't know anything about Vinay. I don't even remember hearing him speak. You know, he has a lovely smile. He has a very friendly smile. But other than that, you know, I don't really know that much about him. But I mean,
I've seen on Twitter.
I'm still trying to. I mean, it was like I was just enjoying the FA Cup, and as I was enjoying the FA Cup, then there was the down of the job dismissals, and as I was just beginning to absorb what was happening, and okay, now we're bringing in Willian and what's happening with Aubameyang. There's an internal investigation into a transfer that happened over a year ago. I mean, this is just wild.
It's just wild.
Wild.
Well, like I say, maybe it's wild, right? And we're you know, other clubs around the league are looking at us and laughing a little bit, Arsenal. But if we did this quickly, in order for us to move forward and be a better model going forward and actually do something worthwhile in this transfer market, it's probably for the best. And Stan, you guys, two of you just brought up a great point there. This brings Arteta closer to the day-to-day dealings of the club. He's going to be more easily able to acquire the players because I think he and Edu are working very well together. Do you think Tim Lewis also saw structurally maybe that Raul was hindering things a little bit with these agents? And he recommended to the Cronkies that, you know, Raul is the person who is clogging things up at the boardroom level.
Well, it was he got the job when Ivan left. He basically said to the Cronkies, "This is your man. This is the man that you should be putting in place to oversee everything." And they basically went on Ivan's say so, which I wouldn't have trusted myself because he was the one that set up the triumvirate in place after Arsene Wenger, you know, and then he's leaving. Why would you take his advice? You know, he's leaving you in the lurch. You know, he's got one foot out the door and he's eyeing a new job in Italy. He's the last person's advice that I would be taking.
Yeah, it was really not that I miss Ivan Gazidis, but to hire Unai Emery on I think Raul's recommendations. And then to just sort of move off to Italy. First opportunity he had was bad form, but good riddance to Gazidis, and hopefully things are moving in the right direction. But Stephen Denham said Josh now needs to live at the club. He needs to be there, working in conjunction with Tim Lewis. Stan Kroenke has got his commitments over here in the States, and he's very, very much silent, Stan. So Josh is the one that I think has a little bit more, wants to make Arsenal a little bit more a success story, personally speaking. Raul, Raul Carvey, sorry. Raul leaving hopefully gives Arteta more power on the transfer. We're going to get through a few comments here. Stephen, I think the Kroenke stack people cover the fact that they're not spending. Wenger. And we're going to get through this as well, assembled. There's a pattern in our transfer market that happened last year that we're going to talk about in the next section. Messi has never won the Europa League. He might have an opportunity in the latter stages of his career, right, Stan?
Yeah. Also now thinking back now about the stories I've been hearing about Willian's signing on fee as well. Because I read in the Independent, and a lot of other publications were spinning off of that article that the signing on fee for Willian is £10 million. And no matter how much I look, I can't find a confirmation of it. Arsenal aren't saying anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, if that is the case, that to me does sound very, very excessive.
I thought the Kroenkes were going to say we're overspent last summer.
It's just me over the show, man.
And also, as well, you've got to take into account that if it is the case that Raul had got caught with his hands in the till, if that's what's happened, if he has been somehow financially benefiting through transfer dealings in some way, how do you think that's going to sit with the 55 people that just lost their jobs because of cutbacks?
That's again. You know what? We're just three Gunner fans here talking about Arsenal. We're kind of stumbling over topics to talk about here, and what's just occurred to me as well, Stan, is Arteta is a coach like no other. He's going to learn. He's a new breed of coach. He's going to learn as the years go on. He's only going to get better and better. And Josh Kroenke wanted to protect his asset in Mikel Arteta at the club. And if he saw that Raul Sanllehi was becoming a stumbling block to us getting the transfers that we needed, we need to open up to the whole world here who we're going to recruit. And Josh was always going to do something about Raul then to protect Arteta from leaving, because there's a couple of vacancies coming up in City and Barcelona pretty soon.
I think if the Kroenke got to get some good graces back, I think the first thing that the Kroenke should do in light of everything that has happened is that I think that they should honour the deal that they made with Mikel Arteta and the players regarding the redundancies. Forget about the business side, right? And all of that, however you want to look at those redundancies, they made an agreement. And the players and the manager, because Mikel Arteta, he's now just moved from being a head coach to a manager now. He's now the manager. He's not a head coach. He's going to have his fingers in more pies and wear more hats. But I think that the first thing that they should do would be to honour that agreement, because now everything looks shady. You're thinking, well, the players and the manager have been lied to by the board structure. They've not honoured that deal. Now the guy that was running the board has left very quickly, and there's an investigation into his transfer dealings. Get some good graces back. Get some trust back. Honour the deal. Suck up $3.5 million. Apologise. Say we want to make things right and honour the deal and get some trust back between the playing staff and the board. Yeah,
we know the players were not happy about the redundancies. They thought that they were taking a wage cut. And again, Ozil's gotten overshadowed by what happened with Raul recently. But, Ozil was starting to look pretty good on the back of not allowing himself to have his wages cut as a consequence of not knowing what the club was going to do. Gunnar Glenn, Arteta is the best thing that's happened to us. He saw how City were being run, came over to Arsenal, saw the mess, and wanted it cleaned up. I think in some way, shape, or form that Arteta has seen what's going on as well, and the Kroenkes have been alerted to this. And whether it's through the transfer dealings, the Pepe deal, which is on the tip of everyone's tongue, we shall see in time. Stephen, they will backdate the overspend. Gunnar Glenn, I think many fans were suspicious of our dealings. Arteta was the one with the voice at Arsenal. If he got things moving in the right direction, I think that he may have been getting things moving in the right direction in terms of our getting in bed with the agents, which was something we were all uneasy about. A lot of Gunners were uneasy about the scouting network as well, Stan, being taken down. But I think we can live with that if it's Edu is trying to implement something different. The two things are not connected, right?
I was just worried that he still has the close association with Kia, because if something has gone down, then I think it's clear that somehow Kia has been involved as well. I mean, I remember when football restarted, and do you remember the game where Cedric Suarez, he came on as a substitute and then he scored after a few minutes?
Norwich.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but on the transmission I was watching, after he scored, they turned the cameras up into the stands, right? And there was Edu, Raul, and Kia. I'm not sure if Vino was there. And they were hugging and backslapping and high-fiving and yeah. And the way that I kind of looked at it, and Kia was with them as well, I just looked at it and I just thought to myself, I don't like that image. Something about that image with Kia in there as well, like, yeah, we did it, and backslapping. And, you know, now finding out what we're sort of finding out, you know, I just look at them as this three of them together.
Bad
I'm worried that there might be some dirt on Edu still.
Yeah,
if you're going to clean the house, right? If you're going to clean the house, then do a deep clean. Don't just dust the sideboards off. Do you know what I mean? Give it a proper deep vacuum and get the shit out.
Yeah. Mahir, any further thoughts on the restructuring that's going on with Raul? Raul and the club has sort of packaged it in a sort of nice way. Same thing I think that happened to Arsene Wenger, because Arsene Wenger was going to get the sack. He was asked to leave, and Raul, you know, I think the same thing happened to him.
I think you guys summed it up perfectly. Stan, thank you very much. Ray, thank you very much. Makes my job so much easier.
The assemble, Stan, the timing is impeccable as usual. How can you develop a squad when the Kroenke sacked the vital cogs to ensure the majority of the squad remains the same? Not good enough.
But the thing is, if they found all of this out now, then the last thing you want is him overseeing the next transfer window, which is, it just so happens that it's now. Do you know what I mean? So there's no way. I'm glad that we don't have Raul overseeing another transfer window, because, you know, I put it out on Twitter and I was kind of laughing, but also half serious. I first got my suspicions about Raul at the end of the last window, right, when everyone was backslapping him about the Pepe deal, and it was Don Raul, and he kind of came out, didn't he? He kind of had it. It was like he sort of boasted a little bit that, you know, that business wasn't done yet. He wasn't quite finished yet. And he was now putting his coat on, and he's going to go off to RB Leipzig, and he's going to come back with Dale Upamecano. But when he came back, he had David Luiz with him. And I thought to myself, that looks nothing like Upamecano. And ever since then, I thought to myself, you can't trust that guy. I mean, do not buy a second-hand car off of this geezer, because the brakes will go out.
Raul always did seem to be that car salesman that you couldn't trust, right? The Joe Pesci in the movie, you know what I mean?
The best fun that and I hope we've got a lot of UK people in, because you'll get this. Someone, you know, I saw the story about Raul and everything leaving, and in the comments, somebody just put, Ronnie Corbett has left the building. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. My hero, question from Raul here. Ronnie Corbett, and I know Ronnie Corbett as well. Comedy gold right there. Raul Carby, thanks for joining us, Raul. Question now is, who's going to deal with the contract? You've got Edu, Arteta, and Vinay.
And Vinay.
I think that actual Vinay's actual job was always contracts part of it. I think his background was with Sky. Didn't he do the contracts and that for their cycling team?
And sponsorship. He's going to
For
be
the
getting
cycling team that they had, right? The Sky cycling team.
Hopefully, at the end of next year, Vinay is going to be doing bigger sponsorship deals because we're a Champions League club at that point. This time next year, hopefully.
I don't know why though. When I see pictures of Vinay, as I say, I've never heard him speak. I can't judge him. I know nothing about him. But he has like this cheeky little smile, and I bet he couldn't believe his luck when he woke up and he found out that he could now sit upon the Iron Throne. Do you know what I mean? As the king of the world.
That's the thing, man. Who is on top? Who is on top of the Iron Throne right now? Is it Arteta? Is it Edu? Or is it Vinay?
But has Vinay been given the job? It's now your job, full stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, here are the keys to the kingdom. Or is he just caretaking it while they find someone? Because I've always felt that there's still a vacuum. There needs to be somebody who sits directly in between the Cronkies and the board. And it was Ivan Gazidis, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there is also Dennis Bergkamp or Mark Overmars. There's been some talk about those two. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, you're getting me excited now.
They assembled DWTT. Arsenal have a disorganized set up. There is method to the alleged inexperienced running of a club by competent businessmen. So they assembled things just a little bit more afoot here. Definitely missing the person at the top who has a vision that everyone can see. My hope is that Arteta now is closer to the dealings of what the club is going to do in terms of moving forward, and he's going to have a bigger say.
I've heard that David O'Leary may be coming back to do something with the club. I keep hearing his name kept popping up, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, it was a story about Dennis Bergkamp coming back to Arsenal one day. Do you remember that? And Mikel Arteta saying that sort of, I think he was kind of saying that would be a great idea. So, I mean, could you imagine if we got the news in a couple of weeks that Dennis Bergkamp was coming back to be kind of like a director of football in some way? Oh,
that would be magic. That would be magic. And I think David O'Leary was stymied from being part of the board by Raul as well, you know. Harry, why is the board being allowed to clown us the last 10 years? The whole lot had to get worked for this. No way Edu was not aware of this. Yeah, we're continuing the Joe Pesci theme here, but seriously, we have been kind of in the wilderness for the last 15, 16 years. 4 FA Cups notwithstanding, you know, but we want to step to the next level and get there. Now, let's get to the next section then. We're going to talk about Willian. Willian has joined the Arsenal. You know, rule here, perfect timing. If Willian got 220, there would have been a riot at Arsenal from the players. So, technically, it's not 220,000 a week. There is a free agent signing on bonus, and people are arriving at that figure because they're rolling the signing on bonus plus other match day bonuses into a weekly program over 3 years at this point in time. Now, for a 32-year-old, it's not ideal. My take on it is, but I can get behind this because I'm looking at last year's business, and we go in calendar order here, Stan. We started off slowly in our transfer business last year. Our first acquisition was Gabriel Martinelli for 8 million, an unknown Brazilian player who had been playing in the 4th division.
Yeah.
So this tells me that, you know, we sort of start off slow as a club. And, you know, if you're underwhelmed about Willian joining, this could be some crumb of comfort for you. You know, we brought in a free signing. Do you think the club is pretty much holding on to their cold hard cash until right about now in the next few days we're going to see some signing?
Well, as I say, one's a difficult one because I've seen people online. It's like to work his wages out now. We're counting, everything to get to his weekly wage, which I've never seen people do before. Usually, say what's their wage and that's it. But we're getting a higher number now because we're packing in,
Packing it all in.
I said earlier though, as I read in the Independent, he's been given a £10 million signing on fee, and again, I mean, now that we're finding out that the investigations are ongoing, and I suppose that they'd be looking at other transfers than Nicolas Pepe, I believe that the Tim, what's his name again? Tim
Lewis.
Tim Lewis sounds like a very thorough guy, right? How do we know that there hasn't been any kind of shenanigans that went down in the Willian transfer? Right? So we don't know we don't know. If I look at the Willian transfer as a whole, for me, I don't get the third year. That's the one thing that concerns me. Taking out the money side of it, right? As we know at the moment, he's on 100 grand a week. And they really are enjoying telling us it's less than what he's getting at Chelsea, though. It's less than what he's getting at Chelsea. Great. We don't know about the signing on fee, but the third year does concern me.
I think that third year, Stan, was the only competitive advantage we would have had to get him in the door. He was going to stay at Chelsea for the same amount of money per week, but it was really the amount of years that we were willing to offer him, and we probably had to go that extra year or two more than we wanted to.
I think the best way that I can actually summarise the how I feel about the Willian deal is like this, right? When I read that we were signing Danny Welbeck for Man United, I felt deflated, I felt disappointed, and I even felt cheated, right? But the one thing about Danny Welbeck is that over time he won me over. I got quite a soft spot for Danny Welbeck. So much so, even if I see his name pop up now, I'll stop and take a little bit of a read because I'm interested to see what he's up to. I feel exactly the same about the signing of Willian, of how I felt when Danny Welbeck signed. My only hope is that somehow, because of his work ethic, he will win me over in the same way as Danny Welbeck did. So that's where I am. It's up to him. It's up to him. It's what I see from him. If I see 100% from this guy, then he'll win me over.
Yeah, and Mahir, Arteta was intent on bringing Willian in. Chelsea players will tell you he was one of their better players last season, and Chelsea were very similar to us. They had a lot of young players last season. Go ahead.
You see, you got two types of Chelsea fans also. The ones that really loved Willian and are angry that he actually left to join their rivals, other London rivals, which is us, Arsenal.
Yeah. Then
there are the fans who actually booed him week in, week out without any reason. So, like Stan said, you guys make what I have to say so much easier when you take the words right out of my. You incept me. You do inception.
I'm going to start going to you first from now on, so you don't blame what Stan's doing.
Just mute and then subtitles. But I pray that he proves us wrong because you know what? If you ask me what are my thoughts, where would he play? I would think as a number 10, as he did in like Shakhtar when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, which was a very long time ago, or on the left-hand side, and then you have Pepe on the right-hand side, and you have Oba up top as your main striker. And then, but like Stan said, you know, a lot of players prove us wrong. Martinelli was one that made me look like a fool, really. Because at that time, I was so angry, and I said, who the hell? I mean, we're such a big team. We just buy these unknown players. We need help right now, you know. And the kid just totally proved me absolutely wrong. Right. Tierney is another one that I just have loved from the start. Who, you know, we need these type of players. Play for everything. See this here? Means everything to them. They do this because it means absolutely as much as it does to us as it does to them.
Well, let's get through a few comments. I think this is the thing that, you know, our viewers like, is that we interact with the people in the comments, and we have to be cognizant of that and keep going back. Harry said, way too much pressure on Mikel Arteta. Hard enough to coach. Now he's in the crosshairs earlier than he wanted. DWTT, the assembled, the Cronkies have a vision, hint, hint. And I think, if you improve the product on the field and you start winning things, the club and the venture is going to be more viable and worth more as well in the end. I think Arteta is measured in his changes, hasn't made major changes. His team probably couldn't handle it. Little changes build into big changes after you look back. And that's the thing. I think Arteta's done amazingly well, Stan, in the last 7 months. He's taken the team as far as he can, and now it's time to kick on. We're going to talk about Willian for a few more minutes, and then we're going to get into the other prospective transfer targets that we're reasonably confident could come to the club.
Yeah.
Stephen, Danny, go ahead, Stan.
I was just saying, I totally agree with you, but now we have to see what happens within this window, right? Mikel Arteta has done his bit. Whatever the mandate was when he took over, you'd have to say that he's probably exceeded it. Whatever he was asked to do, whatever they said, look, this is what we know you're picking up a mess after the previous manager, but this is what we'd really like to try and achieve. Whatever they asked him, I think he must have surpassed it. And now it's up to them now to do their bit.
I would think so. The mandate coming into the club would have been to stabilize the ship and to get some decent results going forward. Up until the restart, it wasn't 100% brilliant. We got a lot of draws. We beat Manchester United. We lost to Chelsea. But since the restart, we have been, if we're hand on heart, we've been a little bit inconsistent. We've lost to some teams that we really should have wiped the floor with. No disrespect to Aston Villa and Brighton and a couple of other teams. But we have seen Mikel Arteta in his element and the team perform above and beyond against Manchester City and Liverpool and Chelsea. So it's been a little bit of a mixed bag, but to go in there and win a trophy in your first 7 months in charge, then with this Arsenal squad, is no mean feat.
No, and they probably weren't even expecting the trophy.
Stephen said, have you seen the news? Arteta's hands covered in first-degree burns from all the fires he's had to put out at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Panel, would you buy a second-hand car from any member of the board? Probably not, right, Stan?
No.
Hell no.
And we'll bring in Tanner back in. Hi, Tanner.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I'm out in God's country, so using my phone, no signal, so I apologize.
No problem. We're in deep into Willian. So, any thoughts on the Willian signing?
Yeah, I mean, the only thought is, after the money that I've heard being thrown around on this, I'm a little bit underwhelmed. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's not my money, and I hope that if we can spend that kind of money on Willian, that we have the money to improve in the areas where we really need to improve, which is midfield and central defense.
Yeah. We got Darren here. He's watching and listening to us, but he's also playing FIFA. So there's a multitasker right there. Hope you're doing well. He's got Bergkamp and Ian Wright in his team, Stan. Not bad.
The only other thing I'll say on Willian, if I may, just real quick. I mean, I do think that he will make this team better, and I've not seen any reports that say that Arteta did not want him or that Arteta didn't have a say in it. It does seem like Mikel Arteta is happy to have him aboard and wanted him here. So at the end of the day, I trust Mikel Arteta's judgment. He knows what he wants to do, and if he wants Willie here, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm of the same ilk, and you're talking very much in the same way as Stan was talking. On the cold light of day, it's an underwhelming acquisition. But looking back, Stan, at last year's business, like I said, we got Martinelli. We may have been underwhelmed by that, but then we had Saliba. We bought Saliba on the 25th of July. A player that we were going to loan back to the club for a year. We get him now. We're going to see what happens with Saliba. Danny Ceballos came on as a loan, which for a large period in the season we were kind of worried about how he was settling. Maybe it took him the whole season to settle, but we saw Ceballos play really, really well after the restart.
I mean, other than Zlatan, who else has really gone into a team at 32 years old and done much? I mean, look at when Lorient went to Tottenham, a bit part player, right? I don't know. But the Willian thing, I mean, as I say, I'm just going to have to wait and see what he's going to be able to produce, and also for how long he's going to be able to do it for. Because it just depends how fast the decline is.
Hopefully 2 years at minimum.
I keep up with the comments here. The Istanbul Stan, I remember Wenger saying "see you soon" when he said his final speech. So maybe he's going to come back to the board, right? We're going to talk about James. We're going to talk about Gabriel Magalhaes to Arsenal. What a signing that could be. As a Spurs fan, I really do rate this player. I think he could be. He's a strong. I think he's strongly linked with us. It's just down to us or Napoli, and I think with Gabriel, it's more of a Brazilian connection than that. We have Gabriel Martinelli there. We have David Luiz. Now we have Willian and Edu. So it's a strong connection for a player to want to come and play with those players.
Well, I mean, I've just was reading this morning that they were saying from his club that basically, he is going to be leaving or making a decision next week, definitely. And it's the two clubs mentioned is us and Napoli.
Yeah, and Lille are a club who strongly, Lille are a club who recommend to the player. I was reading earlier, the coach that would suit the player best of all, and then they're sort of given the decision. It's time to kind of leave the club, and do you want to go to Arsenal or do you want to go to Napoli? So they do help their players in that respect. So Pepe was given the same sort of instruction last season.
I think we both spoke about 6 million for the player. Napoli are looking more towards if they're going to have to replace Koulibaly.
Yep.
In which terms they'd be looking at Gabriel. Other than that, I've seen just rumors of like all of these family members following Arsenal. It's more than looking likely that hopefully he's going to be by us.
That's just mostly fake news. People having a laugh a little bit, right?
Yeah, I you don't pay attention to it. I'm just saying. By the way.
My auntie's dog is walked by this guy who's related to someone else in another country, right, Stan?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know too much about this player, to be honest, but I know that he's a left footer. But we've already got, with Pablo Mari, we've already got a centre back now in there with a left foot. And I was listening to Arseblog, and they were saying, they made a good point about, you can always, sometimes you'll see a right-footed centre back playing on the left of a two, but you'll never see a left-footed defender playing on the right. So there's going to be a competition, for a place there. But for me, I mean, I don't know if you saw the RB Leipzig game during the week. Upamecano, Jesus, what a player he is! What a player! He was playing. Was he 21 years old, and he was playing in the centre of a back three, and he had Costa in his pocket, man. He didn't give Costa an inch. He was making a lot of driving passes as well into the final third, as well as doing the defending stuff.
Right, so let's button up the Willian signing. I think he's going to help us with creativity in the middle of the park from the center of the pitch. We're going to get a little bit of creativity. Tanner, can you see Aubameyang getting a few more chances off of a Willian assist?
Oh, absolutely. And again, I've said this before as well. And I'm just going to caution everybody here. I know where I'm at, and I'm coming up on a bit of a spotty area cell service wise, so I may cut in and out. And if I do, Ray, just obviously take rain. But with the Aubameyang and Willian, I said before, I can see a situation where Arteta lines up as a front three.
A front three with probably Willian sitting behind them. I think that's what Tanner was going to say. You know, but yeah.
Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, I think you were going to say a front three with Willian just behind them.
No, okay. I was saying Willian on the left, Aubameyang through the middle, and then Pepe out on the right. But Willian's a versatile player. Let's not forget. I think he could play just behind the front three as well. So.
Darren has said, look at Lewandowski. He's in his 30s. Yeah, still amazing, but he's in an amazing team, right, Stan?
Yeah, he's a different beast, isn't he? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not an ageist, but I just look at some of the players that we've brought in. I mean, for me, I just think about players like Steven Lichtensteiner. I mean,
he retired during the week. Lichtensteiner. So we wish him well in his retirement.
I just never really remember. I can't think of any player who's sort of like moved from a big club who's like 32 to another big club, and they've gone there and really made an impact. I can't think of one. If anyone in the chat box can think of one, let me know, because I can't think of one at all. It's very rare. Unless you're, I can think of maybe Wayne Rooney, or even maybe Zlatan. But even Zlatan, he was doing it out in the United States. In a team where he was like still their best player, right?
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to everyone who's liked the stream so far. We're up to 15. If we can push 5 more, it would really help the channel, and we'd keep moving that way. DWTT. Hopefully the cuts were to streamline the process. Having to spend on players should be a good thing. If Champions League are part of the goal, then solid depth is a must. Maher, we're going to need a player like, and hopefully you have a few more. We're going to need a player like Willian to help the squad. Let's not forget, the restart is going to continue with this season. We're going to have games probably every 3 days, and you're going to have players, and hopefully Arsenal have learned from the injuries. Most clubs will learn from these injuries that they had. Playing every 3 days, you're going to have to really rotate your team a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to need some quality players also within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Not the next few weeks, the next 2 weeks. We need players. Premier League starting soon. The new season.
Next weekend we'll be previewing the Community Shield. So 2 weeks from now, we have a Community Shield to play against Liverpool, and then 2 weeks after that. So we're about a month away from the start of the Premier League.
Gabriel as centre back with Saliba, I hope. Who was I thinking of? I was thinking of, but Coutinho is now. I mean, we can't get that deal done really now because they're still in the Champions League. I can't believe they did that to my other team, Barcelona. That's bad. Just as a side note.
I'm not even sure if we're going to get Coutinho at this point.
Maybe Thomas Partey.
In light of what has happened in the last 24 hours, Stan, what do you think, Coutinho?
Coutinho, I don't know. I have no. Again, underwhelmed for me. Again. I'd say exactly the same about the Danny Welbeck situation. He'd have to come in and win me over, and
Yeah.
It's what I'm going to see, right? I'm going to have an open mind. It wouldn't be who I would go for and where I would spend resources, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to go mad if we sign him. It all depends on what I see. It's up to him.
Tony always brings some one-liners. Bearded Gunner sounds like he's chasing a storm, and Tony would prefer Indica as well. Coutinho, he took a tiring Barcelona team in the Champions League. Yeah, that's going to get more likes, Maher. Keep doing that. Smash that like button if you like to see Maher do that, or if you're creeped out, don't.
Yeah, but he did well. He came on and like, you know, the game was over for Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? He came on, he set one up, and he scored the last one, and it was already game over.
Here's something to debate, Stan. I actually believe that Aubameyang is better on that left side, and Ismail is sort of saying the same thing. Have you seen Aubameyang play through the center of the attack? Have a look and let us know what you think. I think what you're saying there, maybe he's not as good going through the center as he is on the left. You know.
But here's the thing, though. I haven't seen anything or heard anything from Mikel Arteta or even Aubameyang that makes me think that he's going to be moved away from the left. You know, you would think as well that, you know, especially when you get round to a period where you want a player to re-sign, you think Theo Walcott. And if there is a situation where the player may think, well, I'm kind of playing a little bit out of position here. You're playing me on the wing. Really, I want to play through the middle. That's when you see the player all of a sudden they're playing in their favoured position because you want them to put pen to paper. And Aubameyang looks happy out on the left as playing as an inverted forward. Mikel Arteta, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I haven't seen any kind of evidence or proof, anything that makes me think that that's how we're going to line up.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit of like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't really want to see Willian come in and play on the left side. And I don't think that's where he's going to be. He could even be on the right side from time to time because our left side, Mahir, has been working very, very well with a certain Kieran Tierney and a certain Bukayo Saka has been really, really good for us. And Willian could actually be played on the right side to provide some competition for Pepe as well.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry. But I brought up that other point when we first opened up the discussion about Willian as a roaming, as a number, almost like a number 10, as an idea also, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted by Siri, silly Siri, you know. We got enough layers on 200 players on 200K a week. Tony always plays drop a letter out and try and figure out the rest of the
budget. Here's the budget here.
Well, listen, I know what it's like in the comments section as well, because our conversation keeps flowing and people are trying to type as well, and sometimes they feel like they can't keep up with the conversation. But we always like to go back and try to, you know, look back. So we talked about Willian, we talked about Gabriel. Now Thomas Partey, Stan. If I was happy with us waiting and waiting and waiting on Partey and thinking to myself, everything's settled, all of the major talking's been done. Now we just actually have to just go and get him. Now's the time, Stan.
Why did he not play the other day? He didn't play. He wasn't in the squad for the match, and he is fit. So what does that mean? He's one of their best players, right?
It means
you play
imminently about to be transferred, and the club who's going to buy him does not want him to get injured.
That's it. The only other reason is if he's somehow had his head turned severely, and for whatever reason he's just not at it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think that's the case. So something is going to happen. I just hope it's going to come our way. You know?
Yeah, I mean, as Arsenal fans, Stan, we know what this looks like. We know what it looks like when one of our players is about to leave, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that it's us that he's going to come to, and that this is probably going to be like, you know, the like Kieran Tierney, where it was just a little bit drawn out. But the other thing is as well, is I was more surprised that the weekend came and went without anything on Aubameyang. I thought that would be imminent, and especially I thought it would be on Friday, as Friday was the 14th, and I thought it would probably happen at 14 minutes past 2 as well in the afternoon.
We all saw those, and I was like, that would be nice. That would be kind of nice for our.
It missed the trick there.
The media, Arsenal media kind of went into hibernation mode in the last 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that if you're going to announce investigations and Raul leaving, blah blah blah, what would be an excellent way to try and just to soften the blow a little bit and take your eye off the ball, talk about Aubameyang signing. So I don't know what's happening there. Why that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, and we're seeing Aubameyang tweet things like the hourglass. You know, the time is ticking. Now you can take that as two ways. Like, time is ticking on negotiations for him to sign a contract, or time is ticking on him to see what the club is going to do in terms of reinforcing for the coming season. I think you're nodding to the latter there.
Yes. I'm referring to the hourglass as in new signing, not new signing, but new contract coming, loading.
Yeah, so Aubameyang's pretty much maybe saying, Stan, you know, where's the contract I'm ready to sign? Or do you think he's saying, time is ticking, let's get some players in the door so I can take a look? I think it's that myself.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to remember, right? Players have come in through the door, haven't they? We've got Willian, Suarez, Mari, Saliba, and Saliba, right? That's 4 players that have joined the team, and obviously we're still a couple short. But you know, I don't know if all of those 4 are any good because I've not seen a lot of them play. And I'll say William Saliba as well. I've never really watched William Saliba play. He's coming to me, he comes with a good reputation. But I've never sat down and watched him play in the French league. I haven't. So I'm not going to lie to you. Pablo Mari, I've not seen hardly anything of him. Don't know anything about Suarez because I don't watch Southampton. And I never used to field him against us when we played Southampton. So I want to be pleasantly surprised. But we know as well that we need somebody in that part of the pitch where Thomas Partey is. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, is Thomas Partey really the answer? I don't know. I mean, I don't know other players out there who maybe 2 or 3 years.
There are other players out there, but he is the best player. And he's quality player in his position. Right, Maher?
Yeah, I was saying, I mean, I would love him. I would personally love him in. But the other player that we were linked to also is Decore, and I mean, I wouldn't mind that either. Like, I just want us to keep our house in order. Like, keep all the rubbish out, man. The players that don't want to be, even, I was disappointed to hear that Torreira also, I mean, Torreira wants to go back to Italy. They're saying in AC Milan, and I was like, man, rather, you guys know what my thoughts are on Xhaka. So I don't understand why you want to get rid of Torreira and not give him a shot, but you would rather stick with somebody like Granit Xhaka, who has after 3-4 years
even if Partey comes in, there's no guarantee that Xhaka is not going to be on the field with Partey. You know, the assembled Willian is a peculiar signing who plays down the left, and Aubameyang hasn't signed yet. If he doesn't sign the next 2 weeks, don't hold your breath. And I think this is the window where we have to convince Aubameyang and get him to sign the contract.
Sign the thing.
I have an idea by now whether your main man wants to or not, because by now you should already be looking at an alternative. Do you know what I'm getting at? You should know. I mean, this has been going on for the season. This isn't just like they know when his contract's going to run out. They know what they need to do. So surely there's got to be a deal in place on the table. So just put pen to paper. And if there isn't a deal on the table, then that's just, how can that be? I mean, and that's Vinay's job. Vinay is the contracts person. That's his job. He does the contract part. So I don't understand what the delay is, why they're dragging their feet.
Mm-hmm. And I think Stephen's telling us during this live, Manchester United have scored a penalty. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, yeah.
And Bruno has scored. Well, do you know what the score is right now, Maher? With Sevilla and United?
I think it's 1-0. Yeah.
Okay, let's. We sort of talked about everything Arsenal. Let's open it up a little bit, Stan. Did you see the Champions League games?
Yeah, I saw some of them. I saw Barcelona get their pants pulled down.
Pulled down. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that because there's nothing that warms my cockles more than seeing a distraught Luis Suarez. I love seeing Luis Suarez really upset. That sets me up nicely for the whole day. That does.
And what about you, brother? It's nice to see me distraught, man.
DWTT order of priority is Oba correctly, and then Partey and Gabriel. No need for Coutinho on the list, and I think Coutinho is possibly going to be out of our reach in this transfer window. I'd be happy enough we got Partey and Gabriel in to go along with Willian. But Stan, one thing we're not seeing is outgoings. We are not having players go out the door.
There's been talk, isn't there? There's been people sniffing around Guendouzi, but it's just all talk, isn't it?
Exactly.
You know, it's just all
talk. Pull him 15 million.
Yeah, I've even heard now that Juventus are really keen on Lacazette. It's shifted away now from Atletico Madrid. Now apparently Pirlo has a hard on for Lacazette. I mean, then splash the cash.
Possibly Partey as well. Pirlo likes Partey as well. So I'm really hoping that Partey really wants to play in the Premier League, and this is his opportunity. I think he's been assured that come what may, Arsenal will come and get him sooner or later. So hopefully that hangs in there. The assembled Willian is going to cost 35 million if you include his bonuses. That is, I think it's going to be about 21 million, Tony.
Yeah, 20.
The thing is with a bonus has to be earned, right? It's like a commission, yeah? If you don't get any sales, you don't get any commission. So those bonuses, there are things that the team has to get to for that bonus to be met.
Yeah.
So if he's earning those bonuses and that's getting us to progress, whether it's in competitions or what have you, then I don't mind the bonuses.
And one thing I heard during Arsene Wenger's reign was that he would take players off due to their contracts. You know, they would come off after 70 minutes because if they hit 75 minutes, they would activate certain bonuses.
Yeah. Well, I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had a little bit of that going on with about so many minutes and how many games in the season, and he would do it so that the season would finish and they would finish the season one game away from which would trigger the bonus that they would have to pay someone else. You know what I mean? Crafty, very crafty.
Smart though.
DWTT I'd assembled like Laka, he plays every match and never finishes. Where do we get the other 15 or 20 goals? Pepe should be good for 10 goals and assists. I would say he's going to have about 10 goals and 10 assists more than last year. Who else? So I think, Stan, what we're going to do with this team is it has to be spread out a little bit more. Aubameyang he's probably going to get 25 goals if we get a little bit more creative in the team. But other players have to chip in as well, such as Pepe, Willian, Saka, Martinelli. Martinelli, we got high hopes for this season as well.
I still think we're short another midfielder though. Personally, because I don't think Danny Ceballos is going to stay. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, right? You think about it. He's going to go. He's going to leave. That's a person that Mikel can't pick. Same with Guendouzi. Same with number 10. There's three right there, right? El Neni, he's not going to get a look in. He's probably not going to come back. I bet that the number 4 shirt's going to be given to Saliba. I think we're short, a little bit short in the midfield. But then you could say, well, we do have a young player like Emile Smith-Rowe, who'll be probably part of the team squad. And we don't know whether there's any other young up-and-comers who may get the nod to say, okay, you can start training with the first team. We might start using you in maybe a Europa League or League Cup. Do you see what I'm saying? And I wouldn't mind that because I don't want us to bring in another midfielder if it's going to stunt the growth of someone else. I'd rather throw Emile Smith-Rowe in there and see if he sinks or swims. No now. Stop sending him out on loan where I can't see him. Let me see him playing an Arsenal shirt and let's see if he's got what it takes.
By all accounts, he did really well with, I think, Huddersfield as well.
Yeah. They love him
so-
up there, don't they?
Yeah, they loved him. So I think he's ready. He actually scored the goal that I think kept them up mathematically. A nicely taken goal where he did something that Aaron Ramsey used to do: ghost into the box. The player found him and he finished nicely. So I actually think Emile Smith Rowe could be a good, I say acquisition. He will be, a new part to our team next year.
I'd like to see him do like what Martinelli did, where he starts to play in Europa games and League Cup games, and he does so well, he starts finding himself on the bench in the Premier League and coming on, gradually getting minutes because he's earned it,
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't think you have any bad news, but unfortunately, it looks like Martinelli is going to be out till 2021.
2021. Okay, yeah. I mean, he had a bad injury there. DWTT, Stan, correct. Our captain should let us know what's up, staying or going. There's a little bit to that, Stan. The captain should look and see what the team is going to do, but also should give some kind of assurance that I think the club's going in the right direction. That I'm going to commit myself as well.
Yeah, cryptic tweet. There was another one with him and his dad in his car playing a song saying this is how we roll. And I saw another one which just had like a drink glass.
Yeah, I think he's having a little bit too much fun with this, teasing us.
Yeah, a little bit.
White hair. You guys see the one with the white hair?
I mean,
in the end, they'd be like, "You all knew I was going to stay, right?" I was like, "No, you gave us a little bit of a worry for a few weeks." So Aubameyang, put us out of our misery a little bit. To lose an Aubameyang would really change our transfer dealings this summer.
Yeah, and surely we would need to know sooner rather than later, right? So that we can make adjustments. Yeah. So that we can drive up to Scotland and come back with Odyssean Edouard.
I know we've got who you fancy up there, so that's all good. And
as well, if Dennis Bergkamp does come, I really want him to bring Donny van der Beek with him.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right?
Perfect.
Listen, I want to thank everyone. We're up to 17 likes right now, so if we get 3 or 4 more, that'd be great. What we're doing is trying to launch season 3 on a good footing here, and make the Arsenal fan circle community a little bit bigger, and grow this thing. You know what I mean? Trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, and hope you're enjoying the content here. The assembled, true, Tony, that's true. But if you look at Aubameyang's present contract and add his new contract, Aubameyang costs more. And that's what you have to pay for this, the going rate for an elite player in the Premier League who's going to guarantee you 20 plus goals. If we get a little bit more creativity into the team, which we hopefully will do, he's going to be the Golden Boot scorer, no question, next season. He doesn't seem to be a player that gets injured too much, Dan.
No, he's been quite.
I think Sevilla created 1-1.
1-1. That's good news, right?
Nice. It's very nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
And you were talking about Aubameyang.
Yeah, we've been quite. I mean, for a team that always, we always suffer with injuries. We've been quite lucky that our talisman has really been quite injury free, hasn't he, since he's been with us?
Stan, have you been enjoying the new format with the Champions League? These kind of one-off games.
Yeah, I like it. I'd like to see that stay actually, but I don't think it will. Just quite based on the finances, right? The money that it pulls in. But I do prefer it.
Yeah, me too.
One and done. Go out. Bring your A game to the game.
No excuses. Away goals. Nothing like that. Yeah. Just boom bang.
Tony's saying we need more goals from midfield, and that's the key ingredient in our coming season. If we had turned half of our drawn games into wins, we would have been comfortably top four at this point in time, 66 points. And Arteta had exactly 30. Did he have exactly 18 games? So half of the season, Arteta had 18 games, and he got 32 points. The team got 32 points. So double that, you're at 64 with a couple of games in hand. And you're right there. We're right there if we continue the trajectory we're going on right now. Tony said we still need a cam besides Willian, still need a box-to-box and a central midfielder. That is before exits. I think we're only going to get that defender in Gabriel and maybe Partey, and I'd be hard-pressed maybe to find any more after that. You know what I mean? We're going to have to replace Guendouzi, Ceballos, and Torreira.
There's a lot of talk about that Hossam Owa as well, isn't there?
So that's one I wanted to mention about 4 or 5 minutes ago, Stan. Thanks for bringing that again. They're playing hardball. Give us Guendouzi plus 44 million, and that wasn't enough. That's what we bid. We bid 44 million plus a Guendouzi.
Did we?
And they didn't bite on that. Yeah.
Wow.
44 million.
I believe so.
That's almost. I would say that's almost what a combined about 65 million, right?
Yeah, 65 million. They're rating on
20 on Guendouzi, right? At least 20. So 44 in cash plus 20, you're basically 65.
65, yeah. I mean, that's
I'm sure we could get Donny van der Beek for less than that.
I would love, and with what he did with Leon in beating Manchester City, he was involved in that game and played very, very well. So that's raised his profile a little bit.
See, I didn't see much of that particular game. Was he good? Was he?
Yeah, he played the through ball for the second goal, which apparently Raheem Sterling missed an open goal.
Oh my word! Did you guys see that miss? Did you guys see that miss? Yeah. Let me know. How on earth is that even possible?
You know, Stan, it's the kind of miss where you look at the ground and you make a point of like kicking a divot up and putting it back in the pitch, you know, because it was just that's the only way you can explain how you know.
But like Leon fully deserved to probably win that match because of all the opportunities that they had. I mean, I just saw City attacking, and just missing 1 or 2 or 3, and then after that, total domination by Leon. And I mean, yes, I am quite sad because, I mean, as you guys do probably know, Barcelona is my second team, and like that was embarrassing. That was. I know this is a PG rated show, it's a family show. You know, we all family, but that was like literally no Vaseline, you know, out on the streets catching absolutely everything.
I don't really see Messi moving. He seems like a one club player.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think Messi would try the Premier League?
Maybe for a year or so. You know, it would be nice to see him come to the Premier League and, you know, just to see if he can play in the Premier League, you know.
So we've been going for an hour and a half. We'll just do a few more minutes talking about general stuff here. We've covered Raul in depth. We've covered Willian. Gabriel, hopefully he's coming. Partey, hopefully he's coming. Coutinho, I'm not so sure about anymore. So let's talk about what's going on at City and Barcelona. We've sort of skirted around those right now, Stan. So Pep Guardiola, he's had a very, very difficult season. Didn't do anything really in the league. They've lost too many games. They've probably lost more games. Looks like Man United have scored there. You know, Pep hasn't performed. They've beaten out of the FA Cup. They've won the League Cup, but that's scant reward for a Manchester City team that has spent lots of money.
They finished second in the league, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when I hear people saying, "Oh, Pep's going to probably walk away now," and blah blah blah, I just think to myself, "Is that what he's like then? He's like, you know, you can't. You have a bad season and stuff doesn't go your way. You just think, okay, I'm going to get another job. Don't you want to come back the next season and with a bit of fire in your belly, especially if you're like, you know, you're a team that can go toe to toe on its day with almost anyone."
Anyone.
You can't.
Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't you want to take a step back, have a look at the team, make a few adjustments? You know you've got the money. You know that the people that your paymasters have the money to help you out and bring in whoever you want. Why would you just walk away? And if he does that, I'll lose a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, I don't see Pep walking away this season. If he comes, they are not strong enough going forward. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is strong enough to carry the attack. They have a great midfield, and they're a little bit suspect at the back.
And who do you bring in? You know, if they get rid of him or he decides that he wants to go somewhere else, who do you bring in at that level?
The only person I can think of at the moment, Stan, that is another striker would possibly be João Felix under the guidance of Pep Guardiola.
But I think Stan was talking about in terms of coach, right?
Coach-wise.
The only person that maybe would come to mind would be the RB Leipzig manager.
Nagelsmann.
You know, is a young up and comer, forward thinking. But other than that, I mean, at the moment, right, they've already got a top manager in Pep. He's considered, him and Klopp are considered at the moment the two highest valued managers, right? So what do? They ain't going to get Klopp from Liverpool. That's not going to happen. So, you know.
Yeah, DWTT says, why are you talking about Oberheld? You try to jinx him, Stan?
Yeah.
No.
We'll open the paper tomorrow. And he's on crutches with a broken leg for the rest of the season.
Well, we won't blame you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as soon as Aubameyang signs the new contract, let's hope he stays injury free. Yeah, absolutely. But I think Arteta's there's no risk of losing Arteta at this point, right? Either to Barcelona or to City. I
just want to make a quick point there as well about, you know, and it was the last one that you just put up on the screen reminded me of something. If let's say we move Lacazette on this window, and we bring in a Partey and blah blah blah, I still think that we would still be short up front, because let's say we did that and we stuck with where we are, as in players that play up front. Let's say we start the first game of the season, Aubameyang signed his new contract, we're all happy, and he breaks his leg in the first 5 minutes. Yeah. And Lacazette's gone. Are we saying then that we all look at Eddie now? Eddie's got to play every single game, every league game, every FA Cup game, every League Cup game, and every Europa game. I think that we'd be short in that position.
We'd be pretty thin, for sure.
Sorry?
We would be pretty thin. I think Balogun, has moved on as well. I'm not sure about that, but he's a youth player. I think he's moved on as well, right?
I'm not sure what team it was, but he was moved on.
Look how difficult it was for us to get Laka from Lyon. I think talking about a Lyon player as well. They were tough to deal with. And yeah. I think on Alex's podcast, he was talking about our as well, and a Lyon fan was saying, what makes you think you're going to sign one of our players, you know? This is why Raul isn't at Arsenal anymore, 45 million, and he's offering 65. Yeah. Trying to reverse the old 40 million plus one, right, Stan?
Exactly, yeah.
Do you think Pep offered to resign? Possibly. You know, the old offer to resign is like, no, you're okay. We'll keep you another year. Paper is reporting Messi has told Barcelona he wants to go. Bayern Munich. Go ahead, Stan.
He would take Messi on the kind of wages that he would command in today's current climate, with less revenue coming through turnstiles. Would he have to take a pay drop, a pay cut?
Yeah, but to be interesting, Stan, if Messi does move into a Premier League and then just play literally for the passion, like for the love of the game, like say for instance, if he's on 500,000 a week, they drop it to 100,000 and he plays in a team like a team that's struggling, say for example in Arsenal, 100,000, and just for the love of the game, to show everybody that he is the best player in the world. Not that he has to prove that, but like comes to Arsenal and just bangs in, so I don't know, 60 goals.
How old is Messi now?
Gotta be 32, I think.
33. I think it's a
Maybe
little,
someone in the comments can help us with that one. How
yeah,
old is Messi? And I thought I saw some people thinking about the prospect of marrying Ronaldo with a Messi for at least a season. That would be pretty tasty,
that
right?
would be pretty mad though.
Rohan would move Oba through the middle, keep Lacazette, play Saka or Willian out left, and Bison midfielders in the centre back. We can't sign Thiago, and strongly linked now. Thiago is almost at Liverpool at this point in time. It's not something I'm really worried about as an Arsenal fan. If we were a better team, if we were 18 months down the line, I'd be more worried about Thiago going to Liverpool. Liverpool stand is not going to be our direct competition this coming season. We want to improve to the point of where we're going to be in the top four, but Liverpool are going to be at the top of the table, right?
Yeah, but I still think that we've got enough players to beat them when we face them. I think that we've got enough about us to get points off of Liverpool. Mikel Arteta showed us that already.
Sure, and those will be games. Those will be
it's consistency, right? It's when we go to places like Brighton and when we go to places like Burnley or Norwich or what have you, is that we have players that take it as seriously as going to Anfield, take it as seriously as going to Old Trafford. What we're lacking, if we can get that bit fixed, we'll be laughing. We'll be doing pretty good. We've got to get the right players with the right mentality that every match, they take it seriously. They don't just think, it's only Norwich, do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if we lose against Norwich because I'm going to get picked again for the next match because we ain't got enough players anyway. So, it doesn't matter. We don't want that anymore.
Play for the name on the front so they remember the name on the back.
Exactly.
Who was it said that again, Mayer? Theory?
One of our agents said that. I think it was Bergkamp, if I'm not mistaken.
Bergkamp, yeah. Alba goes better on the left for the team. Why move him essentially? Thiago is insane if he wants to go to Liverpool. What a downgrade. I think he's a decent player, Bergkamp.
I would think
he might actually make them a little bit better. Their midfield is getting a little bit older with Jordan Henderson and the likes of Milner. So they do need to. They're not in desperate need, Stan, to go out and get players. They're kind of like calling their own tune right now. They're top of the league. They're making acquisitions for a year or two down the line.
Yeah, and I just don't see Thiago coming to the Arsenal. So I just don't see that happening.
That would have been a hell of a sell for Mikel Arteta if he did get to speak to Thiago to try and get him to the Emirates. That would have been something. Panel from since Aubameyang has arrived, Lacazette and Ozil haven't performed. There is an imbalance in the attack. Yeah, just an observation. Or do you think it's rubbish because he scores? Mayer,
balance. It's just lopsided for me. Our attack just seems
always on the left hand side, right?
Just seems lopsided to me.
Yeah. We saw in the cup final, you could see Aubameyang. He's really, really good at just coming into the picture at the last moment. So you see Hector Bellerin breaking forward, all the plays on the right hand side, and he's there ready for when that ball comes to him. And that's what Aubameyang really does well, working from that left side.
The thing you need to know how
Aubameyang is just so good that despite Lacazette and Ozil having bad seasons, that he's still able to score goals. It would be frightening if we got some creative players behind them now here.
Exactly. The thing is, I noticed also with Aubameyang, I don't know if you guys noticed as well, but not with Aubameyang, with Lacazette. Lacazette is basically a impact striker.
Yes.
When you try out a team, and then you have that guy just there holding up the ball and killing it. That's what Lacazette is, but he just hasn't had any luck, to be honest with you. I'm also hoping for an upgrade. Somebody like an Edouard coming into the team.
Yeah. Bergkamp said going from Bayern to Liverpool is a downgrade because Bayern are just a great team, but I think sometimes the player just wants challenges. Then he wants to play in the Premier League for a few years.
And I think also as well with Liverpool, I think working with Jurgen Klopp is a big draw for players as well. I think players, if you're selling to go to Liverpool, you've got the history, and they do have a good squad. But I think one of the biggest sells is that you're going to be working under Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, and hopefully, Arteta is going to become that coach where players will want to come and work with him.
Exactly.
I think he's going to be really, really good. Can you imagine what we're going to be like? I'm fully on board the Arteta train right now. What he's going to be like with a few decent players. We're not that far away. We do have a pretty shifty defenders, right, Stan? But
I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works. Just at something that you just said a moment ago there, Ray, and that is, and I'm on board the Arteta train. I like Mikel Arteta. I like his man management style. I like the way that he works with the team, and I love the way that the team responds to him. I love his TED Talks that he gives at every press conference about the clear plan, even though he won't tell us what the clear plan is. It's a secret. We're not allowed to know. One thing that worries me, though, have been some of the decisions regarding the players that have been brought in. And for example, the David Luiz contract extension, I don't understand that. I believe that there were other ways that could have been done. The Cedric Suarez, and I don't know how much of Mikel Arteta was involved in saying that I want these players, I want these things to happen. So my grey area, the other one, Xhaka, was basically had 1 foot out of the door, and Mikel Arteta brought him back in instead of helping him out. Instead of opening the door wider and saying, off you go, do you know what I mean? You might need a big coat out there. He brought him back in. So on that side of it, when it comes to some of the players that we've extended contracts with, where our resources have been spent, because the money on David Luiz was 24 million. They've said it isn't, but they've denied it really weakly, and they've never asked anyone to recant the statement, which is telling. Because if they were really serious, they'd make you recant that shit, because they'll be like, no, but it was around, Amy Lawrence said it was around 24 million, right? I'm worried about that side of it. And, if Mikel Arteta went to Raul and said, listen, make it happen. I need David in my squad next season. I really need David Luiz. Do what you can. Work your magic. Get the numbers to add up. I need him. That does concern me. And if Mikel Arteta was fully behind the Cedric Suarez, bringing him in, I know he's injured and he probably won't play. And rather than thinking, well, let's wait until see how the season pans out, and if I still want him, I can bring him on a free. That also worries me. So, I'm just throwing a spanner out there, because as much as I love Mikel Arteta and I'm happy with what I see of him, my bigger concern is how the club is the club overall.
Overall, yeah, how we being run overall, from top to bottom.
And that's why I said, and I'll say what I said a few moments ago. I'm still worried that Arteta's hanging on the scene, because with Arteta comes that Kier guy, and I can never say his surname. That's why I say that Kier guy. I'm going to attempt it. Kier Volkswagen, as Tanner likes to call him, and that concerns me that he's still got his feet under the table through Edu, and it's not like we can sever a tie with the guy, because he represents Edu. Unless, I would probably say to Edu, listen, Edu, we love you. We love the way that your connections in South America. But if you want to continue with Arsenal going forward, you're going to have to find yourself a new person to represent you. Yeah. So it's your choice.
Yeah. 100%.
You want to help this plan? You want to help us move forward? Fantastic. We want you to stay as well. But you've got to cut your ties and association with that guy moving forward. If you can't do that, then you got to go as well, my man.
I love that. I love that thought.
Hey Stan, do you believe Arteta's system allows for creativity, or Arsenal becoming more functional? I think we've had to be functional with the players that we've had, right?
Yeah, I don't believe that Mikel Arteta he sat there and drew up a blueprint and he's rubbing his hands thinking of next season, and he can't wait to see us passing the ball out to Kieran Tierney, who hoofs it all the way out the left wing, totally bypassing the midfield, and hoping that Aubameyang just times his run to get on the end of it. That can't be something that is going to be maintained, right?
It won't be sustainable.
As you say, Ray, It functioned well for what we needed, but you know, going forward, teams will soon work that out. Do you know what I mean? They'll overload us on that stuff.
That's exactly the thing. In football, you have to continually evolve and reinvent yourself. You know, Pep Guardiola came in like a breath of fresh air and was tactically amazing, and he's had a pretty rough season. You know, many times there is no one in the middle to receive the ball. I don't think they want that pressure of turning into the heart of the defense. And I think we're on 19 likes right now, so I think you're spared of that, Stan. But it would have to be a few more than that, right? It would have to be 30 likes to do that.
I say Tony makes a good point now. He says, "Bye bye Edu, hello Overmars." I'd have some of that in a heartbeat. Because for me, if you're going to give somebody a title, head of football, which was Raul Sanllehi's job title, for me, that has to be someone like an Overmars, a Bergkamp, a Glenn Hoddle, a David Pleat, a David O'Leary, not a guy that has a contacts book and was, you know, integral at another club, just wheeling and dealing and talking to super agents. You have to have more of a football brain, you know, an overall top-down view on football as a whole. I would say that Edu probably has more right to be the head of football than Raul Sanllehi, because he's actually studied the game. He's done the coaching part of it. He's then worked with the Brazil squad. He understands, you know, the operational side, if you will. So I never understood how Raul Sanllehi was bestowed with such a majestic title.
They are in brown, right, Stan? They are in brown.
That's right. Yeah. So if we're going to keep with the Game of Thrones analogies, it seems that Vinay has now bent the knee to the Cronkies.
That's a good one. And this Tim Lewis, I know this is different. It's like the X-Files. He reminds me of David Duchovny. Google Tim Lewis and you'll see a picture. Does it not remind you of Mulder from Mulder?
It does look Mulder. It actually does.
I'm just having a look now.
Yeah, you got to check it out, Stan.
I do like
to check up on the comment section here. Stan, if they load the left, won't Pepe get freedom on the right? But listen, I want to thank everyone. Tony is saying it's 20 likes, so that's great.
He does look like David Duchovny.
Does look like David Duchovny, right?
He's just got a higher hairline, but everything else, bloody hell.
Yeah. Every
time his name's going to be mentioned now, anytime I see him, I'm going to hear that.
What? You know when I used to see that opening, I used to run immediately out the room, and then as soon as it's back on the actual show, then I'm like, hey, what's happening?
It actually fits, Stan, with what is going on at Arsenal right now. So
yeah.
You know, the truth is out there, right?
Truth is out there.
Mulder, oh man, I have to tweet about this. Mulder will find the truth if it's out there. Lumbercam, thanks for joining us. The Tyranny Cross to Oba should be a weapon that we still use. Pep doesn't do enough Route 1 tactics. Arteta seems open to do anything for the win. I love that, you know. But hey, we close it out at this point. Mahir, you got any final thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to thank Stan and yourself for allowing me to come in also, you know, your co-host. And we had a lovely one, actually. Welcome to Season 3.
Yeah, I mean, Season 3 starts off, you could maybe think a little bit murky, Stan, with the Raul stuff gone. But we choose to look at it as maybe sort of sweeping away what may have been wrong with the process, what may have been wrong with the setup. And now, whether it's Edu moving forward, we definitely have Arteta and Mertesacker heading up the academy. And I've said in the last few weeks, I'm happy with that setup, what's happening on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good to come on today, actually, and, you know, to discuss this particular topic of what's been going on, because you know, I've only been talking to my missus about it, and my missus just keeps on saying the same thing. I never trusted him in the first place. You know? His eyes are too close together. His eyes are too beady. I never trusted him. But
on the voice, the gravelly voice as well, right?
yeah, he talks a little bit like that, doesn't he? Raul Sanllehi.
Lumber Cam, Vinay is getting bolder by the day. His inner Gazetas is starting to show. And that was a little cringe looking back at Gazetas showing Unai Emery the 89 picture. And this is what happened. It was the last day, and Unai Emery was like, yes, just smiling and saying, the cameraman probably told him to do that, you know.
I just have this vision that of Tim Lewis like walking into Raul's office, like kicking the door open, and Tim Lewis has got like two big heavies next to him, and he's just like, Raul, the game's up, mate. We know what you've been up to. Pack your desk and get out. And I could just imagine Raul sitting there and going, what? Does this mean I'm not getting a statue?
I remember when you were saying, show it on loop, the Spurs game and what Kolasinac did. And that's what probably made Raul leave, you know. Kolasinac with that pass back for the Tottenham game, you know.
Kolasinac is another one that you need to get rid of. Absolute shite, man.
Yeah. Mrs. Fan called him a beaded-eyed Danny DeVito lookalike. All right. Listen, we'll leave it there. We sort of talked a little bit, but that's what happens. We went a little bit longer than intended here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank you, Stan and Tanner, for joining me today. Am here? Tony, DWTT, Lumber Camp, Raul Carvey, James Fernandez, The Assembled, Rohan. Everybody gets a mention here, so really appreciate it. Steve Denham.
Yes.
Also, Darren Boyd, Damien Weld was in there.
We may not mention you. We may miss you once in a while here and there in the shout-outs.
And also James Fernandez, who pops in to see us sometimes.
He does enjoy, and Harry as well, who came in.
Yeah. Not seen Noe for a while though.
Yeah, Noe in London Old School.
Yeah.
And want to give a shout out to Boots as well.
Boots as well, yeah.
So everyone else, there's lots of people that watch and don't get involved, and that's fine as well. Do whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to check back through the comments if anyone else wants to be moderator, but we got 2 in here. And this is season 3, the first episode. So once again, Stan, thanks. What we're doing here is trying to get a few more likes to push us up. The YouTube model is a suggested viewing for people. We want to get a bigger community in here. And, like I said, better times ahead, hopefully, Stan, right? Raul has left the building.
Yeah.
We are out of here. Come on, you Gooners. Up the Arsenal. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time, we'll catch you.